Hi. Welcome back to Celebrity with Nene. So I know we've been gone for a while, but finally our show is back. So let's talk about it. All right. So I have Reese and JC here with me. And so I'm going to start off with we're doing two episodes today. So I'm going to start off with episode 42 and then we're going to end, but we'll be back in 5 minutes with episode 43. So don't leave. Oh, yeah. So we're going to pop back up. All right. So we're going to start off. This was also the season premiere for Love During Lockup as well. All righty. So the very first episode, we meet Jade and Chris. We find out Chris is the one that's locked up and that they actually got married. So they're a married couple. All right. And so we also find out that he is Native American and his family owns a casino. And so guess he gets a check every month from the casinos for I guess his share of the profits or whatever. And with that money, he has bought he has bought her a house. I'm sorry, guys. Great. I think I'm okay now. All right, so he has bought her a house, a car, a side by side, or what is that sport vehicle that she has? Is that what
Oh, oh,
it's called?
yeah, it's side by side.
Okay. He got her a camper, and so we see her. They pan back to her, and she's getting ready for her sister's 30th party that she's throwing at her house. Right? Okay. And also, okay, to just jump back, so they're still kind of in the honeymoon phase. They got married 7 months after they met, and he was already locked up at that point. She said he was originally supposed to be doing 32 years, but I don't know how long he's been locked up. I can't imagine a long time because he doesn't look like he's super old. He's been in there a long time. But she says he's getting out in 2024 and they are planning their lives. You know, she thinks he's going to be able to be on the straight and narrow when he gets out. They're going to have children and all of these things, right? And so, oh, and then during this party, sorry, I don't know what's going on with me right now. But during this party, she revealed she has a tattoo for him on her butt. Alrighty. And I'm going to let you guys tell me your thoughts on them. I'll let you thoughts on Chris and Jade. I know I
Right.
cut it short, but my 30 songs going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't all run for it. Who Okay, so I guess I'll say this part too as well. Okay, so while she's hosting her sister's birthday party, Chris is calling nonstop and FaceTiming nonstop. And and she's getting aggravated until her guests at the party are getting aggravated. And so at one point she has an actual cardboard cutout of Chris. Her sister like kicks it into the pool. And she's just like, well, she's standing right there. She's like, look, he's calling me. So then he started calling different people who were at the party trying to get her. So, yeah, they've got some issues going on. Any thoughts on Chris and Jade?
um, yeah, I find it interesting. I'd love to be part of his family to get that check first off.
Hmm.
Um, Outside of that, he's a person that just does so much, in such short period of time, kind of like that hopeful romantic, or it could be that one that feels like I think this woman so much I must buy her love and attention.
Right.
Now the problem with that is sometimes when people spend so much on you, they feel like they should have access to you, and there has to be a balance there. Now, in fairness, he did ask her when they had the party. He did ask her, "Well, when did you want me to call back?" And she said an hour. Now, even I knew with a party that you need later than an hour to call back.
Right.
But the extent of him blowing up the phone, and then he called the sister's phone, that is a bit excessive. But again, it's a balance between him being too excessive and him also taking care of house and home for her. And it's like, listen, if I'm saying to take care of you, at least you can do is answer phone. I can't talk to you from here.
Right.
Now, as far as the sisters go, I can get the agitation from them, but it sounds like they're all single people, and they're getting frustrated. And then with the sister kicking the cardboard into the water, you're thinking more of you and how you feel and think rather than, comforting your sister. Where it was like, I'm trying to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one feel like she should act the same she did before she got a husband that was providing for her, and now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think it's really going to be a struggle between him and the sisters as time goes along.
Yes, very much so. And that was something I did not touch on. She says that he receives about $10,000 a month.
12.
Was it 10 to 12 is what she said? I remember hearing definitely the 10. Okay. And she says, they have a joint bank account. So, she's able to access the money and do, buy certain things. So, yeah, I mean, you made some very good points, Jerome, that sometimes people do feel like if they're taking care of everything, they should have access to you, especially with him being locked up and he can't see certain things, I think that's also plays into his insecurities.
It
And
does. If I
yeah,
could touch on that too, is that also becomes on the person who's receiving. It's like if you feel it, he's basically being straight. I'm going to do this for you. You have to be available when I call. But if you don't like it, you can also stop accepting and say this is not what I can't deal with, and not accept all these gifts either. So, but he's saying this is what if I do this, this is what I want. It's up to you whether you accept it or not.
yeah. And then again, like you said, she wasn't being realistic when she told him to call back in an hour. It was her sister's 30th birthday. What
Hmm.
party is gonna end after an hour? Um, yeah, so that yes, I do agree with your thoughts. Reese, what did you think of them?
Um, well, for as long as we've been doing this series,
Hmm.
she the first one I'm gonna say hit the freaking jackpot because you would have thought that back in the day Lisa would Stan, but when then we realized like, okay, Stan is a millionaire by his stock profile, which means that's not liquidated. Only way he's gonna have that money is he sell his stocks. So we know that, excuse me, their relationship, or he's not the rich person like this one. I'm sorry, 12 to 15,000 a month consistently, without you having to work, without you having to do nothing. You just wake up and every month you getting 12 to 15,000. I would say you well off. If you ain't rich, you are well off, and really by standards, he is rich. Um, I agree with what JC says. Like, in his mind, he's buying all these things, he's doing all these things. Why wouldn't she respect him when he calls? The only thing that I find the flaw in it is, it's her sister's birthday. They're at the house, and that there's a good chance that once they start drinking or having fun, they may not hear that phone. She may not hear the phone. Um, if it's not an emergency, like give her a few hours. Like she's not leaving the house. Like she's in the house. Her mom is there. You know what I'm saying? Mom or sisters. Everybody's in the house. Video call. Like if you want a video call and be like, I don't want to. You don't have to sit and talk to me. I just want you to sit the phone up so I can like interact with y'all or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
It's weird. It's weird. You're in jail. It's weird. But out of respect for him being her husband, I'm sure everybody would allow that. She's a social media influencer, so I know you got stands. You can put your phone on. Put your phone on the stand, face it to the party, bring it in so that if he got something to say, they can hear. So when y'all taking the shots, whatever, put him right beside you. I don't know, but at the same time, like I just feel like he blows up her phone. Like, well, I want to be a part of it, but you just have to remember, like, all you can be is on the phone. So even if you're sitting on the phone and we start laughing and like, you know what I'm saying? Let's say everybody decided to jump in the pool for something. Can't take you with us. So we in the pool, you can't come in there with us. Just different things that I'm like, I feel like he's not, because he is kind of jealous. Like to me, he's jealous. He's very jealous.
Yeah. He's not.
He don't trust her.
No.
And if you don't trust her, don't buy all this stuff. Like, My solo opinion, like, I mean, I don't know how she is personally and not personally, but like looks wise, I'm like, I'm sorry, like it's not like you got like the biggest baddie in the world that you're like, if I don't buy this, she's gonna leave me. Like she's like a regular girl. She just, you know what I'm saying? I guess maybe her personality. I
But
don't know.
I mean, but to him, he
To
feels like,
him, like she's everything, but if she's not doing what I need her to do, then why would I keep doing all of that or trying to? Because like literally, he's not an ugly guy, and he's got money. This man could find somebody else quick. He could find somebody who will be what he want him to be, quick and easy. He could find another and I don't know. I ain't gonna say she's a gold digger because I like honestly her wearing stuff with his face and all that junk, like that ain't something a gold digger would do. So I don't think she don't love him. I think he's just kind of suffocating in a sense. Like if she say like I'm going to dinner, then you want to call me 17 times during the dinner. Like you can't do that. Like that's not even normal for a boyfriend or a husband. That's not normal for anybody. Even if you married and your husband sitting at home, but he blowing up your phone 17 times during the dinner, to me that's weird. Period. It's weird. But like Jerome said, also when it comes to from her standpoint, if you don't like how he's acting, then tell him to save the money and stop buying all this stuff until you come out. That way, you know I'm not using you. I'm here for you. And when you come out, we'll buy this stuff together. But I think this is just what he does because he's got money. So, I mean, shoot, if I was rich, so that's my opinion. Oh, and the tattoo. That's stupid. She got his tattoo, his name tattooed twice. Like this dude, it's on her tootie tot and on her arm or something. So this dude got to know, like, she can't. She must really love him to put his name twice. Literally. Like I could say if she didn't do nothing like that, but she just a gold digger. But two tattoos with your name, she got some feelings. And I feel like he's worried for the wrong reasons. Like, because it seems like every time she goes and does anything, it's with her family. And if you break that bond with her sisters, like there's gonna be resentment there.
hmm yes, because the mom already thinks that their marriage is toxic.
Hmm.
Mom did say that.
Well, the way he comes off, it is toxic. Like if she can't even drive to the store and you already blowing her up, like where'd you go? It's like I'm to the store. Are you there yet? Like that's how it sounds like he is. And I feel like the I'm with the mom. It possibly could be worse when he gets out. Like it may be, well, we going to the store together. I'm just going to go get a soda from the gas station. I'm going with you. Now, if it's in a way like, oh, I want to go too, that's cool. But him, I don't see it as cute. I see it as controlling. Because you can be clingy cute, but you can also be controlling clingy. And that's a different level. And that's what he's putting off as controlling clingy.
Mhm. Alrighty,
I
so
love
to the
clingy.
next couple. So the next couple was Letitia and Keith. We found out again, here goes another couple. They are already married. So she said she was on the phone with him one day. She was in the parking lot of Walgreens and he asked her to marry him. And they ended up getting married. Um, and so, she reveals to us that she owns a tax company and she's doing pretty well for herself. And so she ends up going to work. We see her going to work. She calls a meeting with her employees. She sits them down to tell them that her husband is going to be their new boss and that he is going to be running things while he's in prison. And so her employees, you could tell they were like, what? Which is understandable. I would have had to say, right, like, what? You telling me you're letting somebody in prison? Granted, you can do what you want to do with your business, but to tell me my new boss is going to be in prison. And so they're not necessarily happy. And so she ends up taking them out for food and drinks. I think trying to smooth over the crazy atmosphere that she had just created with what she had said. And so while they are at the restaurant, they're ordering drinks. Um, it kind of comes out that one of her employees previously dated her husband. All right, and then that's where like all of the scenes of them end. The rest of this scene actually continues, but it continues on to the next episode. You guys know how we does it. Okay, so it continued on to the next episode. So thoughts on from Reese and Jerome. You're muted.
Okay. Um, to me, when they did her and told her background about having the 3 kids, the kids didn't bother me. What bothered me is like her choice. Like she just said, "Oh, if I see a man with gold teeth, I think it was gold teeth." It's just like, ooh. So it's like, to me, it shows you want this happily ever after, but what you're looking for is doesn't really describe the model man. It just describes a look. And you're a hopeless romantic. You sitting here already trying to, hey, I met him. He's got the teeth. He got the look, so he can get half the business to set herself up to be for a downfall. Um, I think she's really. It's like she's still dating like she's a teenager, and I. And as far as he goes, I don't even know much about him. But I don't even hear her talk enough about him enough to see where he's done so much that, other than his look and probably the way his talking is swag, that to even be like, here's half my company. Here's
Right.
half my company. So it's like, when they say love is blind, this is the definition right here to me.
All right, Racy.
Yeah. I get that's her husband. So I'm with.
You're muted.
Dang, it keeps remuting. Whatever you do on your personal time, that's your personal time. But to come in and say he's our new boss and and the business is dealing with things that can cause like legal ramifications for people, it's kind of weird. Like, I don't know that I want to know that a convict is helping with my taxes if I'm coming to you for services, or a convict is over the stuff, overseeing my stuff. Like, and not to say nothing negative, because not all convicts are um not capable of doing these things, but why you're still behind bars is just strange. It's not the norm. So and then I agree with Jerome on the fact that she was like, oh yeah, he's the perfect guy in a gold teeth. Yeah, he's your perfect type of guy, or the kind of, but that doesn't mean he's like the best guy. But that's her type, and respectfully, nothing wrong with it. It's just describing him as a great guy. The gold teeth has nothing to do with that. But yeah, I would have that same reaction too. I would have the same reaction. Like, I don't know about this. You sure? Like, because if this dude take all your money, then what? That's your business.
Right. Or because you also have secure information of others, of everybody that comes in there and does the taxes. You have access to social security numbers, addresses, date of births, in some cases, bank accounts. So, granted, I believe in second chances. However, I'm not saying that I would be comfortable going to a bank and have the idea that somebody who could, like, I think his was drugs is what he went to jail for,
It was
but
drunk.
it still had me kind of side eyeing, like,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Another thing that she said was that he'll bring clientele, and I'm like, and then she said they make like 30 cents an hour, 75 cents an hour, like.
So you're not getting big tax refunds that you'll be able to take from, you
If
know.
they're even if they
Yeah,
are
because they
even
get
having
paid
to, because
from.
if you're under a certain amount, you don't even have to file.
Hmm.
So depending on what they're making a year, they may be exempt.
Yeah.
So it's a weird, like, when he get out, then do that, not while he's in.
Yeah. Mhm. All right, absolutely. All right, so the next person is Renika and Asante. So Asante is the guy, he's the one in prison. All right. And so we find out, Renika, she's also a businesswoman too. She has several vending machines that she sells eyelashes out of. Right. So she says she makes about 20,000 a year per vending machine. So and then she still works and she's also a rapper, an aspiring at rapper. Alrighty. And she says he's in prison in Georgia. So she is in the process of moving to Georgia. She wants to be closer to him. Mind you, she has never seen Asante in person. They never met, but this is what she's thinking. And then she has either 2 or 3 kids. So she says she's taking them with her. And so we see her, she's at a beauty shop where one of her vending machines is located. And she's talking to the ladies at the shop, and she's telling them about her plans to move to Georgia. And of course, they're trying to tell her, okay, there's some red flags here. Like, why are you going to do this? You've got your vending machines here. Your children are here. Your family is here. You haven't even seen this man, and true to the norm, she's like, well, he's so sweet. He's so understanding. He listens to me, and they're trying to tell her that's what inmates do, though. And so we actually end up seeing her, Renika, she meets up with her dad. And she tells her dad about Asante. And he doesn't like the fact that she's leaving to go see him. And he was like, so you're telling me you're moving to be with a convict? And she's like, but dad, you're a convict. Because apparently her dad did time in prison. Okay. And so that was them. Oh, and I forgot to mention, she's been talking to Asante for 13 months. I don't know why she still hasn't met him, but hey, that's that. And then, yeah, and she had also made a statement saying that she's just used to being around criminals. She said her dad was a criminal. Her mom was hanging around her dad while he was doing criminal activity. And so I guess that's her defense. So any thoughts on Renika and Asante?
So it sounds like it's just a generational thing. Like she's just doing what she knows and what she sees. But I'm thinking maybe she hasn't seen them because they're not in the same state. Maybe I'll get that as a benefit of the doubt. She just ain't traveled to see him because maybe she's just busy.
But she's like in Alabama.
Oh, it's an hour?
I said she's in Alabama, so certain parts of Georgia, it is very close. I live very close to Alabama. It doesn't take me hours to get there. It just depends on what parts they're in, but it's not like a 12-hour, 8-hour thing.
Well, I guess in a way that's a good thing because if it doesn't work, she's not that far away if she got to come back. But I don't agree with these people that uproot their kids to go be with somebody that they don't really know. And this has been other people in the past, and them other people didn't work out either. So not to say that her and him won't work, because there have been couples that have worked. However, you do got 2 daughters, and you see what seeing your mom dating an inmate / somebody who's a felon or whatever, has done to you. You just don't want to make that same mistake with your daughters. So. And they're too young. They're young enough that she has to take them with her, so they're not older kids. They're, at least high school and younger. I don't remember how old she said they were. But in a sense, being an entrepreneur, going to Atlanta might not be the worst thing in the world.
Oh, and then I forgot to mention, she says per month she sends Asante between $2,000 and $2,500.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Every month.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, that's a lot for a month per month. But I don't know. I mean, if she's still making do, I guess when he's out, maybe it'll be cheaper because she ain't got to send him that much. Like he'll be living there, and then the bill she's gonna pay anyways, it just might be a little higher. But so maybe in the sense that her moving there is cheaper than sending him money because if he got out and had to go get his own place or whatever, she'd probably still be sending him money. So again, I don't agree with her going down there, uprooting and moving. I feel like maybe let him go stay with family. You go see him and stuff. See how it goes first before you bring your kids in it. But hey, whatever. I did think it was funny though when the dad was like, "So you gonna go uproot and be with a felon?" And she's like, "You're a felon." It's like, yeah, you can't be so judgmental. Granted, you can speak on your knowledge, but what about when somebody says that about you? You know what I'm saying? Got to remember that. Like you in the same boat as him. Like you don't have a squeaky clean record. You know what I'm saying? So that part was kind of funny to me, but that's all.
Okay.
Long story short, it just sounds like another person that is just like, oh, I need somebody, and just pick somebody and don't know much about them and ready to throw your whole life into somebody without knowing. The fact that you're uprooting with 2 girls is that you don't really know, all in all, how this guy is outside. And you have older girls, is he going to love them, or is he going to be somebody that's checking them out? That's why you should let him get out first, see how it is before you uproot. But a lot of her conversation talks about how she feels. How he makes her feel, how she feels about him, and not about us. And he's not going to look any different because, of course, I got somebody coming in giving me money and stuff. I got stuff on my commissary. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm still wondering if you make this much money off these vending machines, are you loading up these vending machines and taking them where you're moving to? Because I know you ain't driving back and forth to check
She
them.
did mention she wasn't going to be coming back to check the machines, so I guess she's either selling them or she's going to take them with her. I did see when she was in the beauty shop, she did say something about she wasn't going to keep them there.
Oh, well, I mean, it just seems like you're giving up so much and you're putting so much at risk for someone, and the amount she's sending. Again, you're doing so much for a guy because it's almost like you just want to have somebody, kind of like the one woman we talked about in the last segment about basically half her business or half her husband in the business.
It almost reminds me of, I think it was last season, Love After Lockup. Y'all remember the one girl who she wanted her bank robbery boyfriend to go into business with her with her jewelry? With her,
Oh yes, it's more
They're
like
not even together no more.
yeah,
right. So it's like you're so desperate to want someone that you're taking someone that may appeal to your wants, but is to me red flags. And I'm not saying that the guys are bad in any way. I just feel like and the bad part about it is they're going to take advantage regardless. They're locked up. They want to get out and have someone, or they want to have someone to talk to, someone to take care of them. But when you're the one that has not only the bag but the kids, you have to be the one to make the correct decision first. It is your job to look out for your well-being for you and your girls or your family.
right, right. Okay. So our next couple was Andy and Brittany. So Andy, he was previously employed working as something in law enforcement. So I don't know if he was a cop or he was at a correctional facility, but he was
He's a
involved.
cop.
Okay, so he was a cop. And he said he was in the business for 13 years. And then he met Brittany online, like on a pen pal site. He said, I guess his story just confuses me because I feel like at times, and y'all will see that on the next episode that we talk about, his stories, I'm trying to follow it, but I'm like, something's not right. So he says he had left law enforcement, I guess a little bit before he met her. And so he was doing, I think he was a truck driver, is what he was saying. And then he met her because he was on the road and he was feeling lonely. So he went onto the pen pal websites. But then I could have sworn he said something about, I don't know, the timeline, it was just weird what he was saying to me. I couldn't quite follow it, but I was like, okay. Um, so Brittany, she is in prison for a drug possession. She said she was a drug addict, and that's where all of this sprung off. And so Andy meets up with one of his friends, his former law enforcement friends. We learn Andy loves donuts. So they were going to meet up and have donuts. And so he's telling his friend Andy, Andy's giving him his concerns and the red flags that he is seeing so far about the situation. And so Andy was like, let's just look her up. Let's just see. And he basically does a background check right in front of Andy and tells him again of the red flags that he sees on there. But you tell Andy, I feel like there's nothing really that Andy's friend could say to him that's going to stop him in this situation. I think literally it'd have to be a situation where she walks away from him, I think. So, any thoughts on Andy and Brittany this week?
Well, I think he's only been with her for a few months, so I don't think he met her when he first became a truck driver. But like, I think he was on them websites for a while, probably, and then he met her eventually. Unless the timeline, like you said, is just weird because he only said he's been with her for a few months. But he's in love with her. I mean, even his son was like, "You just like these type of women, you know, like because his former wife was a drug addict, and then
Hmm.
you're with somebody else who is in jail for drug possession, but she was also an addict. Um, yeah, I just feel like he's not for him to be all in like he's saying he is. I feel like he's not really taking into account what happened with his past family, you know, because I mean, he lost his family because of his ex-wife and the mother of his kids was a drug addict.
But he said he ended up taking custody of those
Yeah,
kids. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. Okay. And then that was something else, but I won't go into that until the next
yeah,
episode.
yeah.
There
That's why
was
I was
some.
trying not to.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's just one of them things where like I could see if I don't know, maybe even if you had found a bank robber, uh, a drug dealer who didn't use um any other thing but another addict, like even if she's out, you know, in prison, like the prayer will be that she's gonna like let go of drugs. But because you just never know, it's like one of them things where I don't know if I'd take that risk again after going through it real bad. So that's I don't know. I'm with his friend who was like, it just don't seem right. And then when they showed all the pictures of her and her smiling and stuff, it just seeing her smile seems fake. And maybe it's just that's how she smiles. I don't know. But it is something about her I didn't trust this first episode. So,
But I hope this don't sound too shady. I am impressed with. It looks like when she first got locked up, I guess the drugs had messed with her face, but now her skin is so clear and pretty. I'm like, look, girl, you need to tell us what you're using on your skin. I want to know. Trust, I would go and buy it. Yeah, her
it
skin
might be
is
something they make in the
straight up.
prison though, so you might not be able to get it.
Heck, I don't know. I'm gonna figure out a way. Y'all just look. Just send me a letter with the ingredients for everything. 'Cause, yeah, she cleared that skin right on up.
Probably will, probably made to drink more water now. But I would say, you know, I don't know. Again, he reminds me of the other two ladies. You know, there's not a lot of questions he can answer about her, but he's just like, I'm so in love. What is it about her? You know, and I think when he sat down and talked to his friend was, I like he has a real friend that said, I don't know about this right here. I'm gonna do some checking for you and whatever. But I don't have a lot to say about him other than we're gonna have to kind of wait and see. But I just think he's another person that's just like, ooh, somebody gave me some attention, and just going ahead, just head into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Um. So the next couple was another Brittany. So we have is it two or three Brittany's here? Okay, whatever. So we have Brittany and Key Rock. I think that's how you pronounce his name. All right, and so we see her. She's actually going to beauty school right now. We find out that she was in prison with Key Rock. So I know that's weird. Like, how was she in prison with her man? But she was in prison with him because he is a transgender man. And so, because he was originally born a woman, he has to go to the women's prison. And that's where they met up. So she's telling, I guess, her classmates, about her situation and how they met and stuff like that. And, they are also trying to give her some red flags, telling her red flags that they are seeing themselves. They're like, are you really going to be able to sustain this? You're in love now, but he's locked up. Are you going to still be in love? And, just asking different questions. And so he is actually in prison for armed robbery. And then she had gun charges in robbery, was why she was in prison. And we see them have a date night, a quote unquote date night. And so she walks into a restaurant. It looks like it's probably an Italian restaurant. And she has a tablet with her. And so when she sits down at the table, she turns the tablet on and she's like, yeah, he's about to call. And so he calls. So while she's having dinner, they talk, which, I was like, okay, you're doing what you got to do. But he will not be in there much longer because he's getting out in 3 months. So they'll be reunited a lot quicker than the other couples. So, any thoughts on them this week?
Um, One thought going back to the other ones, Asante and Renika,
Uh huh.
she said he was getting out in a few days. Like it didn't really say. She hasn't explained how long, but she said he'll be getting out in a few days. She actually said that.
Oh, okay.
So she may actually have less time than
Yeah.
even Akira. But I mean, it's not really from what they showed in the first episode. Not a lot to say about them, other than they're both young. So that
Yeah.
would be my only thing about how well this is gonna work because he's 25, she's 22. They're both super young, and that's gonna be hard to get back into a relationship. But the one good thing was that they did meet in prison, so they kind of both understand that. His charge is a little worse than hers, obviously. Um, but because she just has robbery, he got robbery and gun charges. So it's um it's gonna be interesting, I guess, to see just because they're so young. Everybody else is like 30s or late 20s. Actually, I think everybody's in their 30s. Yeah. Everybody else is 30s and 40s. They're the only ones in their 20s so far. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how it works just because of their being young. And then next episode I got comments about a boy, but um yeah, that because they didn't really show much on them.
Okay.
I don't have much on there more than they just probably a young couple and that she sits up here and she's like, oh, just old Gotti over him, and he's just like, oh, she's cute. So I need more on them, but they really look like two people going in blind. They seem like they like more people they can relate to. They have the same kind of struggle and problems, and that's why we like each other, man, rather than two people that's really in love with one another for what each other has to offer.
Yeah. And so with them, I also wonder because their relationship started with both of them being in the same institution together. So how is that going to translate in the real world when they're out together in the real world and have to deal with real world issues and problems and others being able to speak on things whereas they didn't see what they were doing or what was going on in prison. Now they'll have new opinions faced to them. So that was it for me. All right,
Agreed.
that was the end of episode 42. So we will be right back with episode 43. So if you want to just keep an eye out, or you can go ahead and subscribe. And then when we come back on, you're going to get the notification. All right, so we'll be right back, friends. Bye.